rear-end collision. It often strikes without any warning, turning a totally ordinary moment into a costly and sometimes, well, a painful nightmare. And here's the kicker. These crashes aren't always the big, dramatic, high-speed events you might picture. The source material we dove into notes that even what seems like a minor fender bender, that can lead to serious injuries.
That's exactly right. And for you, the listener, our mission today is really to give you a shortcut to being well-informed about, the single most common type of crash on the road.
Yeah.
This deep dive is all about stopping the shock from the rear.
We've got a huge stack of statistics, research, and legal analysis here. We're going to try and extract practical, clear advice on defensive driving, on situational awareness, all with the goal of making these preventable crashes, well, obsolete.
Right, and we promise to clarify the main causes, define that absolutely critical following distance rule, and then unpack the surprisingly complex world of legal fault.
Because it's not enough to just know the rules, is it?
No. We want you to understand the why and the how so you can apply this knowledge, immediately.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with just how common this danger truly is.
Yeah.
When we talk about serious crashes, I think the mental picture for most people is a head-on impact or maybe a T-bone, but the data, it shows the rear-end accident is this kind of stealth-dominant player on the road.
The prevalence is what's really fascinating here. We pulled numbers from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the NHTSA, and the figure is, it's just staggering.
What are we talking about?
Rear-end collisions account for about 29% of all traffic accidents in the U.S.
29%. So that's almost 1 in every 3 crashes you see.
1 in 3, and that's where this paradox of damage comes in. We dismiss them as minor, but statistically, they're responsible for a massive number of injuries.
So why is that? Why is a low-speed hit so dangerous?
It really boils down to the physics of it all, the acceleration and deceleration, and specifically that sudden transfer of energy. While the fatality rate is thankfully lower than, say, a side impact, these crashes result in a very high volume of soft tissue injuries, especially whiplash.
The sudden snap of the neck.
Exactly. When your car is struck from the rear, even at a slow speed, your body is forced forward with the seat. But your head, because of inertia, it kind of lags behind for a split second.
Right.
That hyperextends the neck before the headrest can catch it. That rapid, uncontrolled motion is what strains everything, and that's why, just positioning your headrest correctly is such a high-impact defense.
This all brings us to the core message from the research, which is that most of these crashes are preventable.
Completely.
They're less about bad luck and more about, a momentary lapse in focus.
Precisely. And that leads us right into the why. The human element is the primary driver here. We all know you shouldn't hit the car in front of you, yet it happens constantly.
And at the top of that list is driver inattention. The sources make a really critical distinction here, right, between distraction and inattention.
Yes, distraction is active, using your phone, eating, fiddling with the radio, but inattention is just as dangerous. That's daydreaming, being preoccupied, simply failing to stay on the road.
So your eyes are on the road, but your brain isn't.
Exactly. Your brain isn't processing the critical inputs. Either way, it dramatically delays your perception reaction time when the car in front suddenly brakes.
And that delay, that's the difference between stopping safely and becoming part of that 29% statistic. Right behind that is, I think, a more obvious one. Tailgating, following too closely.
Tailgating is often caused by impatience or, frankly, just aggression. The driver doesn't realize how little time they have until it's too late. The consequence is immediate. You have zero margin for error.
Which brings us to the main prevention technique mentioned over and over in the sources, the 3-second rule. Could you define that clearly for everyone?
It's simple. You pick a fixed object on the side of the road, a signpost, a bridge, anything.
Okay.
Once the car in front of you passes it, you start counting. 1001, 1002, 1003. If you pass that same object before you finish counting, you are following too closely.
And 3 seconds is the standard minimum, but, is that always enough?
That's a great point. It's the absolute floor. The sources all emphasize increasing that distance 4, 5, even 6 seconds in bad weather or on rough roads.
Because your stopping distance just grows exponentially.
Exactly. The worse the conditions, the more space you need. It's that simple.
It's also crucial to not actively provoke a crash. The analysis highlights some really specific aggressive behaviors like brake checking.
Ugh, brake checking. It's when a driver deliberately slams on their brakes for no reason, usually to show they're annoyed at a tailgater. It's road rage, pure and simple.
And incredibly dangerous.
It's guaranteeing a collision. It's completely self-defeating.
And then there's the communication issue. Inadequate signaling.
Right. Failing to use turn signals, or even worse, having brake lights that don't work, it can completely surprise the driver behind you.
So the prevention there is twofold.
Dual-layered, yeah. Always use your signals. And critically, do a quick walk around your car now and then. Check that all your lights are working. That basic maintenance step isn't just about courtesy. It ties directly into legal liability.
So we've covered the human errors, the lapses in judgment, the aggression. But what about the factors outside the car?
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the causes aren't always just about the person behind the wheel.
You mean the environment?
Exactly. The circumstances surrounding them. Road conditions are the biggest multiplier here.
Adverse weather, rain, fog, snow, ice. All of these things reduce your visibility and, critically, your traction.
Right. And that dramatically increases your stopping distance. That 3-second gap you had on dry pavement, it's a fraction of what you need on an icy patch. The math just doesn't lie.
So prevention is the same principle, just amplified.
Drive slower and increase that following distance way beyond the 3-second minimum, substantially.
And we can't overlook mechanical failures.
No, we can't. While human error dominates, a mechanical issue can turn a near miss into a definite crash. Vehicle maintenance is like this invisible form of defensive driving.
You're talking about more than just brakes failing, right?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, faulty brakes are a huge one, but also worn or underinflated tires. Your tire tread is what gives you grip. If your car can't stop like it's supposed to, even the best reaction time in the world won't save you.
So regular inspections are non-negotiable.
Completely.
Yeah.
And then there's the context of where these crashes happen.
Intersections and heavy traffic.
Yep. Stop-and-go congestion, those are the hot spots because of all the abrupt stopping and starting. And, we always talk about blind spots with side swipes, but there are danger here too.
How so?
If you change lanes without checking properly, you can easily cut someone off, force them to brake hard, and cause the car behind them to start a chain reaction.
Okay, so with the causes laid out, let's shift to active defense. Let's talk about modern prevention, blending smart tactics with smart tech.
The foundation of it all is just adopting a proactive, defensive driving mindset. And the key tactic here is scanning the road ahead.
You mean looking past the car right in front of you?
Way past it. You have to train yourself to look 2, 3, even 4 cars ahead. You're trying to anticipate the flow of traffic so you're ready for a sudden stop long before the car directly ahead even hits its brakes.
That makes perfect sense. If you see brake lights 4 cars up, you can start to slow down gently before anyone around you even reacts. You create your own buffer.
Exactly right. And that leads to the importance of smooth operation, smooth braking, smooth acceleration. The sources also advise signaling your intentions early.
With more than just your turn signal.
Right, by gently pressing the brake pedal before you really need to slow down. That little flash of your brake lights gives the driver behind you precious extra time to react. It's communication.
And luckily, modern cars are giving us an advanced toolkit to help with this. The Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or AA.
We should define that. AAS is a suite of intelligent safety systems, using radar, cameras, you name it, that monitor the environment and can step in if the driver fails to act.
And there are 3 specific ones that research emphasize for preventing rear-enders.
Yes. First is Forward Collision Warning, or FCW. This is just an alert system. It beeps or flashes a light if it thinks a collision is imminent. It's designed to snap you back to attention.
But if you don't react,
then the second system kicks in, Automatic Emergency Braking, or AEB. If the warning fails, the AEB system will automatically apply the brakes for you to either prevent the collision or at least reduce its severity.
And the third one is almost a comfort feature that doubles as a safety system.
Adaptive Cruise Control, ACC. It maintains a safe following distance automatically by adjusting your speed. It basically takes the mental load of managing that 3-second rule off of you on the highway. It's a powerful tool.
And let's not forget the low-tech tool that's becoming so critical, the dash cam.
Yeah, dash cams provide crucial evidence, especially in those messy liability situations we're about to get into. But maybe the bigger benefit is behavioral. Knowing you're being recorded, it can just make you a more cautious driver.
So we've covered prevention, but accidents still happen. We have to address the tough question. So what does this all mean for liability? Who's responsible?
This is where understanding the legal framework is so important, because the common assumption that the rear driver is always at fault. It's mostly true, but the exceptions are really powerful.
Okay, let's start with that general rule first. Why is the driver in the back usually held responsible?
The rule is based on the legal concept of negligence. All drivers have a duty of care to maintain control of their vehicle. So in most cases, the driver who hits the car in front is deemed responsible because they failed to maintain a safe following distance. They breached that duty.
They weren't prepared to stop.
Simply put, yeah. But the research details these specific scenarios where fault can shift, or at least be shared. And this is where it gets complicated.
What's the first big exception?
The first is if the lead vehicle makes an abrupt and unexpected stop without a valid reason. So no hazard, no stop sign. If they slam on the brakes for, say, a squirrel, that can introduce what's called comparative fault.
And the second one is pretty clear-cut.
Very. If the lead vehicle is reversing or even just rolling backward when the collision happens, the fault shifts to them. They initiated that movement into the other driver's safety zone.
And the third one brings us back to something we touched on earlier.
Vehicle maintenance. If the lead car has non-functioning brake lights or other mechanical issues that directly contributed to the accident, they can be held partially at fault.
Because the driver behind couldn't have known they were stopping.
Exactly. If the primary signal failed, it mitigates the rear driver's negligence.
And I imagine in multi-car pileups, it just gets incredibly messy.
Oh, intensely complicated. The sequence of impacts becomes critical. But the final nuance is how different places handle fault. Some use comparative negligence.
Which means?
Think of it like splitting a bill. Fault is assigned by percentage. Maybe the rear driver is 70% at fault and the lead driver is 30% at fault. Damages are paid out based on that ratio.
And then there's the much harsher standard.
Yes, contributory negligence. This one is extremely strict. In this system, if the lead driver is found to have any fault at all, even 1%, they could lose their entire claim for damages.
Wow.
It's an all-or-nothing rule. It puts enormous pressure on every driver to be flawless.
That distinction alone should make everyone listening think twice about basic car maintenance. So to wrap this up, the stats are undeniable. 29% of crashes are rear-enders. We know the 3-second rule is the golden standard, and that driver inattention is the enemy we all have to fight every single day.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, driving safely means mastering the space not just in front of you, but being hyper-aware of the dangers from the rear. It's about proactive, 360-degree awareness. That's the difference between a good driver and a truly defensive one.
A truly defensive driver anticipates danger from every direction. So let's leave you with this final thought, based on those strict legal principles we just discussed. How does ensuring your vehicle's basic maintenance, like making absolutely sure your brake lights work, protect you not just physically, but legally, from losing your entire claim, even if you are the one who gets hit?
It really makes preparation your strongest defense. Be safe out there, and thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.